Hey, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well. We have a big announcement, a huge announcement, a gigantic announcement here from Kendrick Lamar that we have to go over. It's a short one, but a significant one. Before I read it, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, good people over at The Ridge, still making these awesome, nifty, minimalist wallets. Hit up the link down below, promo code MELON, 10% off. It's all you got to know. All right, so Kendrick Lamar has just posted this message, which is on a site. He says, as I produce my final TDE album, I feel joy to have been a part of such a cultural imprint after 17 years. The struggles, the success, and most importantly, the brotherhood. May the Most High continue to use Top Dog as a vessel for candid creators as I continue to pursue my life's calling. I have seen some people saying, oh, is he saying he's leaving music, ending music, being done with music? I don't think that's the case. He's saying it's just his final TDE album. And he finishes off that paragraph saying, as I continue to pursue my life's calling. What is his life's calling? I'm assuming it's been what he's been doing up until this point. I mean, if it's something else, if it's something completely outside of the lane of music, I would hope that he would specify, you know what I mean? If his life calling were to suddenly become, a professional tennis player, I think he'd say, I think up until this point, as fans, as outside observers, what Kendrick's life calling has been in terms of his music and the message he wants to get across with his music and how he wants that to impact, how he wants it to land, that clearly seems to be his life's calling. So an album on the way. It's still being produced. This does not say that it is finished, so it's still being done. And it's going to be the last one with TDE. And after that, he will move on to other things artistically. And I don't know what that is going to mean for Kendrick. Will it be another label? Will he just continue to do things independently? I'm hoping it's the latter because I think he has the power to do that. I think he deserves to do that. And I think it would be better at the end of the day for more artists to be taking as much control as they can of their work and their output. But yes, final TDE album, which I think is a significant message and a significant takeaway from this. I mean, not just album on the way, but final TDE album. We recently had a Let's Argue video that we will link at the end of this video where it was not my assertion, it was a tweet, it was an assertion from someone else saying that TDE is a dying label. And I took my issues with that statement. I had my problems with that statement. I mean, certainly TDE in terms of like, success, hits, great records, and general discussion around the music water cooler is not in the position that it was at one point. But I thought that TDE was still a very viable label and that viability was going to depend heavily on the next run of albums from its biggest artists over the next couple of years, over the next year or three. And that would be an album from Kendrick, an album from SZA, maybe another record from Schoolboy, hopefully at some point an Ab Soul record. And, we're hoping the Kendrick record is going to be a smash. And if it is, that's obviously going to keep the label alive. But it's a bit of a shock to know that once that record comes out, good or not, Kendrick's gone. Kendrick's going. Kendrick's moving on to hopefully greener pastures. And whether the record is good or not, that's really going to impact TDE in a bad way because Kendrick, for a long time, I guess you could say even now, is like the glue that holds a lot of that label together. I mean, obviously everyone there is creating of their own volition, and whether Kendrick is close in proximity or far, a Schoolboy or a SZA album is going to end up being what it's going to be. But Kendrick is the gigantic draw to that label. And if he's not there continuing to draw people to that label, I think it's a significant, kneecap to TDE's viability going forward. Now, the next biggest cultural force on the label outside of Kendrick at this point, I think you could argue is SZA, and certainly her album could be very good. I'm anticipating that it's actually going to be very good. But the thing is, if that leaves SZA as potentially your biggest artist, and most, influential artist, certainly in the field of R&B, she's already kind of expressed not having great relations with punch in the label in terms of the rollout of her music, and it's led to pauses on her new album and so on and so forth. So, you know, your biggest artist, your biggest draw to the label after Kendrick is already not on great terms with the label. So that puts things in an even more precarious situation. You know, the label has continued to pick up some artists here and there, but nobody who's like, you know, built the catalog or the star power that Kendrick and Schoolboy, really all the original members of TDE have. I mean, as long as TDE remains a label and continues to sign people and continues to drop music that people actually engage with and listen to and give a shot, you know, there's always going to be a chance that they could, you know, sign the next voice of a generation, you know, in terms of hip hop or R&B music. But geez, look, I wish nothing but good things for the label, and I hope the label remains to be a creative front and continues to push artists out there that are actually taking risks. Because, I mean, let's face it, when it comes to strictly hip hop labels, there aren't a lot out there that seem to favor artistry over what is merely trendy. As sad as it is that Kendrick is leaving, I mean, he's his own man. He can't just exist merely for the record label that helped put him on the map, especially if creatively and personally he's moving into another phase of his career, another phase of his life. But Kendrick still producing a new record, and it being his final TDE album is a pretty big shocker, not one that I expected to read today, that's for sure. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Are you psyched about this new Kendrick record? Do you feel like it being his last TDE album is going to mean anything? And once he passes through this record, what could that mean for the rest of his career and the rest of his life, creatively speaking? Let me know. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Kendrick Lamar, forever.